Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nareen's Life with MS. This is Nareen, and it's time for a Super Sunday. And it just so happens to be the first Super Sunday of the year, and also pretty much signaling the start or pretty much the end of this win- winter vacation that we just had, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. Right, so that means that pretty much starting the 5th of January tomorrow, we will start going back to work, starting to open everything that we had stopped doing, or going back to school and or college, whatever we pretty much took a break from these past 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to go back to it. So my first question is, how are you preparing for it? Because a lot of times, you know some of the things that I hope a lot of people did end up doing was get back to a regular sleep schedule. Usually what ends up happening towards the end of the year especially is that there are quite a few things due: assignments, deadlines, all of these things. And usually as a result of that, the at least the last couple of months of the year do end up being a lot of late nights, a lot of stretching out our bodies, just to ensure that we meet all of the requirements for any given time, right? And now that hopefully you have done the rest and the relaxation, and you've recuperated just a little bit or enough to pretty much take the next 2026 head on. How do you get to start, and what are some of the steps that you are doing to ensure that you're getting there? For me, essentially, I think the first thing is to pretty much get back on a regular sleep schedule, or whichever sleep schedule that I pretty much devised for myself during the winter break, that I maintain that, right? That does mean sleeping a little early. And as much fun as it is to, you know, doom scroll or do any of these other things, especially in the middle of the night, I have, definitely taken, at least promised myself to try and limit that, especially in the evening hours, especially by keeping myself a little busier than I was. Um, Even when I was, working on more or less the same things, um, before the vacation. So that is one thing that I am planning to do now, so that I can at least ensure to myself that I do go to sleep at a regular time. Try to make sure that I get um, you know the amount of rest that my body actually deserves, and then at the same time trying to be um, you know as regular as possible with all of my other activities, all of my other requirements, be it going to the gym, be it going to get um, physiotherapy sessions, or anything for that matter, right? And this is something that I do, at least I did promise myself that I would do that at least at the turn of the year. So hopefully, starting tomorrow, hopefully I can put as much of that into action, so that I can actually see a little bit of improvement in my health as a result of doing all of these things that I'm promising myself that I will do. So that is one thing that I am definitely trying to at least get back into the game, get back into the schedule, but at least make it a little more, pretty much just enhance my schedule to the extent that I am able to empower myself a little bit more, just be a little bit better with myself. And like I mentioned yesterday, and that I do mention quite often, that you know because it is part of you respecting yourself, that you are setting aside time for your own improvement, right? I mean, going to the gym, going for physiotherapy, doing acupuncture, be it whatever that I end up doing on a given day, right? And within the 24 hours um, of any given day, you know almost everything is to improve a certain quality in my life. And if I am giving you know a certain amount of time to, let's say, work, I should also be willing to devote a certain amount of time to the improvement of my health, the improvement of my condition, the improvement of my brain power, the improvement of my intellectual ability as well. So that is one thing that I'm going for, that everything that I did, at least in these past 3 weeks, I do want to continue them. Of course, it does mean that certain things will definitely cause a little more pressure than others, but with that even being said, you know there definitely does come a time to be able to balance as much of that as possible, especially when your health needs to have a little more importance in your life, especially. So that is one thing that I did want to leave with you this Super Sunday, right? The first Super Sunday of this year, 2026. Even though, funnily enough, I'm pretty sure I'm going to write 2025 at least for the next 3 or 4 weeks, until I get the hang of writing 2026. When I'm dating anything. So, with that being said, this has been an Insight with MS. I do hope that you did have a great break these past 2 or 3 weeks. I hope you managed to get a little bit of the rest, relaxation, the recuperation in this time, so that you can pretty much get started with this new year and hopefully do see a lot of the improvement that you have promised yourself, um, either at the end of last year or at the start of this year, or in your resolutions or promises, or you know manifestations, whichever way it may be, that you do actually look to giving yourself the respect, the care that your body needs, so that you can actually um, you know pretty much succeed in all of your endeavors. So with that said, here's wishing you a good night, sweet dreams, and of course a goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.